Well, I think we can take it from there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar. My name is Sergio. I'm a product marketing manager here at LogPoint, and today I'm going to be your host for this online session about Director. It's my pleasure to present to all of you the latest version of LogPoint Director, which is our solution to manage multiple tenants from a central console. So this tool is the one that we bring to the market in a way that will help you to take total control of your MSSP or MSP business. I am joined today by Sikander, LogPoint's product owner for Director. And with him, we will witness how the latest features of Director can help MSSPs and MSPs alike streamline, well, things such as client billing, and enhancing also access security or simplifying the log source creation. But before we jump into this presentation, I'd like to discuss some small practicalities. First and foremost, this session is being recorded. You might have seen it. It was mentioned when you joined this Zoom webinar. But we do it so we can share it later with you, with all of you. So you all receive an email, and we will also offer this webinar on demand for those who couldn't attend it today. So now I would like to look into the agenda we have for today's session and also what we are going to cover and discuss throughout this webinar. Well, as the topic of this webinar is how Director gives you total control over your business as an MSSP or as an MSP, we will start by discussing, well, some insights about the current cybersecurity market, but also with a focus on managed security. In addition to this, I would like to touch upon to some of the most common challenges for MSSPs or the ones that we have discovered by talking to some of you. But also to later discuss how LogPoint, more concretely Director, solved those challenges, or what was our vision to when we released Director, and what sort of challenges we wanted to tackle. This will be followed by a demo showcasing some of its latest features. This will be provided by here, my colleague Sikander. And it could be that you have a question during the presentation, but mostly also during the demo. In that case, I encourage you not to wait until the end. You can submit your questions using the Q&A feature by clicking the icon at the bottom of your screen. We will address your queries, your questions during our Q&A, our question and answer session at the end of the demo. I think, well, that's all for the agenda. And so without any further ado, I think we can just get started. Well, there is no doubt that the managed security market is experiencing a rampant growth. We've seen it this with an increasing need for talents in cybersecurity and also without enough resources for many organizations to either effectively detect or to respond to incidents, but also just to carry their day-to-day task in security. Well, MSSP's businesses seems to be on the rise. And as I was mentioned before, we discussed with some of you, but also a few months ago, we conducted a market research on how European organizations in the mid-market carry their security operations. I won't read all the numbers, so I'm just presenting you here some snippets and some highlights. But according to this research, 23% of those organizations who currently manage their security operations in-house, they anticipate that they will outsource it to an MSP or MSSP, MSP or MSSP. And they will do that in the future. And from this study, we also know that these service providers, these MSPs or MSSPs, will prefer solutions that they have a capacity to change or to grow so they can offer tailored solutions for their clients. Well, this kind of like shows the importance of offering tools that empowers uh, MSSPs and MSPs to manage security with precision, but also with scalability. And as I mentioned before, there are some where we wanted to discuss some challenges that we have encountered by discussing with some of you, with some of our customers, with some other MSSPs friends. Um, and we found that that as this business grow together with the demand to secure organizations against threats, they also experience an increase in the need for more efficiency and productivity. Amongst our MSSP customers, we noticed three big problems or three main challenges, and those were the ones we wanted to solve. So one of the greatest challenges MSPs and MSSPs alike face is maintaining what their customers trust while accurately managing their licenses and ensuring proper billing. Let's remember this is key, right? So we provide software for MSSPs who at the same time provide services or security services to their clients. So there is like a whole chain. In this chain, receiving an invoice, we know is kind of like the last part that, or not the last part, but every part in the chain will do. But receiving an invoice is not the nicest thing. I mean, you open the mailbox and it's not the thing you are always like keen to receive. And especially when it's especially bad, right? When this billing or the invoice is wrong. And even if the result is in favor of the customer, it also represents a problem on the other side, in this case of the MSSP, right? So without detailed reporting, this business often struggle to track and build customers for their consumption. In addition to this, I would say that multi-tenancy at times presents a dilemma. We talked about flexibility before, right? Those tools that they can be flexible and they can just adapt and they can just offer tailored services to their customers. But then there's also the other part or the flip side of the coin, which is, well, what happens with the customer security? What happens with the compliance? So this is what I present always as the multi-tenancy dilemma. So ideally, the MSSP SOC team should be able to have access to their customer SIM data, but this access should be controlled and limited, well, depending on who is in the, or who in the team is accessing it, right? Not everyone should be able to have the same access, or we believe so, because if not done properly, this can lead to compliance gaps or security vulnerabilities for the customer of the MSSP, which also presents a problem in the relationship the MSSP has with their own customers. So we discuss invoicing, but also we discuss maintaining security and compliance. And in the same spirit of becoming more efficient, right, and bringing efficiency, but also compliance, MSSPs try to overcome the challenge of having to deal with so many different customers that at times they have very different log ingestion needs, but also at times they have the very same log ingestion need, right? So how do you balance all that? So in this case, managing log sources can become quite cumbersome and consume many resources, whether you have to do it one by one because they are different, or what do you do when you have them all, right? Like do you have all customers using the same log sources? So this is sort of like the challenge that they kind to they try to overcome. So now that we have looked into this ugly side of some of the challenges, let's look into perhaps how Lockpoint Director helps you overcome those challenges. Well, I will say that with Lockpoint, you have more than just a SIM solution or a multi-tenancy solution. What you get is a tool, a solution that helps you take total control, as we spoke at the very beginning, to take total control over your business as an MSSP or MSP. So, and we try to do that with Director, which is the latest release that we have provided in Debitor. We brought up a new release for Director, which is our solution that is designed specifically for MSPs and MSSPs. So that way you can manage multi-tenant environments with ease. And in this release, we focus on important aspects such as, well, ensuring you build customers correctly. For that, we have introduced node counting. This way, you can track how many nodes and cloud nodes as well your customers have consumed so far. So Sikander will talk a bit more about it, but let me just give you some overview of this. You will be able as well to create reports by pool of customers, but also by machines, and then consolidate that report of a node or cloud node consumption into a one report that includes both details by pool and machine. We've also rolled out role-based access control to help you enhance some security and compliance when accessing multi-tenants. And in this case, Director will allow MSPs and MSSPs to implement a strict access segregation based on three roles: admin, I think, SIM engineer, and read only. So basically, we will give them access to only what they need, whether it is information only or both information and functionalities. But Sikander will talk more about the type of roles and what they do in this demo. But I would like to highlight that the admins can also manage user roles and create user groups to assign them to specific pools and limit access to others. So we reinforce both security and compliance. Well, what's better than to have your business under control? Well, I would say reduce operational overhead in those areas that consume resources, such as time and manpower, right? Once you have it under control, you can just focus on those areas that become a bit more expensive for your business. So this is exactly what we are doing with log sources management. We have expanded an all-known one already, but it's this feature where you can just create log sources using a template-based system. So it's very easy to create and to onboard, to create log sources to onboard new customers, but also to manage the tenant log sources. You fill out one template instead of manually creating several log sources. But you will see more with Sikander. So now that you got an understanding of what this latest version is, and I have been anticipating what you're going to witness with Sikander, it's time for you to witness it in a demo. Well, Sikander, the stage is all yours. Yes, and now I stop.
Thank you, Sergio. Hello, everyone. This is Sikander here. I'm one of the product owners at Blockpoint. So today I'm going to do a brief introduction of Director, what it does and things like that. And after that, I'm going to do a demo of whatever Sergio has presented earlier on. So without further ado, let me start sharing my screen. Okay, hope my screen is visible, Sergio. Yeah,
it is.
Great. All right, so let's look at what Director is. I'll keep this a bit short. Director can do a lot of things, but to put it in simple words, it's a comprehensive central management platform for managing multiple LogPoint instances. And what are the things that it can do? It can enable monitoring the health of individual LogPoint machines. I've given a snapshot of how the health monitoring dashboard looks like on the screen. And similarly, SIM engineers and director console users can update, configure, and manage alerts all from central single interface. In addition to that, it also simplifies the license management and reports related to the consumption and things like that. And finally, you can do a search from director, and you can also do a centralized incident management and reporting, again, across multiple Lockpoint machines that are connected to director. So that was a short intro of director. Now, for this demo, what we are planning to do is I'm going to take you through a journey. The journey starts with user management, the role-based access control that Sergio mentioned earlier. What are the enhancements that we have in 260, and how you can actually achieve those things that Sergio has mentioned. I'm going to do a walkthrough of that. And then once we have done a user management part, we will jump into the log sources. We have expanded templated log sources for multiple cloud fetches. So we will see how we can fetch the logs from various cloud sources and what are the templates that are available. And finally, related to the billing, so it's important to know from a central interface, like all the log points that are connected to director, which log point has how many nodes being consumed, whether they are cloud nodes or standard normal nodes, and all that. So we will take a look at how those reports looks like. So, those are things that we plan to cover in the demo. So let's jump into the director console for the demo. So this is the director console, and um, the first thing that we want to cover is the user management part. So in Director 260, we have introduced user groups. So earlier we used to have only users, and they would have access to pretty much all the Lockpoint instances that are connected to it. But as we understand from our customers, and it's very important that we segregate the roles of the users, and also we separate their access, segregate their access based on specific Lockpoint machines and things like that. So we have implemented this feature to enable our customers to do those segregation of users' roles and responsibilities. So the first thing I want to show here is this particular instance is connected. This particular instance of director has three pools, and each pool has one Lockpoint machine. So for the purpose of this demo, what I've done is I've created two demo pools, roles, or rather groups, and each group has access to a specific pool. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a user to showcase that while I'm logged in as admin user, I can see all the machines. But when we grant those specific roles and specific uh, groups, they can only see the machines that are intended to be made available. So let's create a quick one. So let me create a user called Ron. And I'm going to give read-only, SIM engineer role to Ron to this particular pool. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just quickly log in as Ron.
Sikander, will you show us the page in which you are? Because we can only see the slide so far.
Oh, is it? Sorry.
Yep, no worries.
Let me do that. Apologies, I didn't realize. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, so okay, so I'll just do a quick recap. Right now, I'm logged in as an admin, wherein I can see all the three pools that are connected to this particular instance of director. So what I've done is I've created a new user called Ron, and Ron has access only to one particular instance of lock point, and that is the DK pool. So as we can see here, so the pool that we have selected here is just DK. And then like we have when we log in as Ron, the same instance of director. Uh, so we have literally restricted the access to demo one machine, and Ron cannot see any other instances. And likewise, uh, if we want to grant another user, let's say Kim, admin admin role. So the moment we grant Kim admin role, you can see that all pool is selected under the user group, and that's because unlike sim engineer and read only roles, admin role is like a super admin, wherein an admin can actually have access to all the pools, plus they can also do the user management. So let's look at that quickly. So now I'll just quickly log in as Kim. Okay, so Kim can actually see all the pools because Kim is another admin in this director instance. And just going back to this user group, right? As I mentioned earlier, through the user groups, you can actually restrict to which pools specific users can have access. And when you are creating a user, you can specify those those groups over here, and relatively they will get the access. But in the case of admin, they will get access to all the pools by default. And an admin can also do user administration, and a sim engineer can do everything other than user administration. So in essence, we have admin role, a read-only role that will get access only to see the devices, the log source configurations, and things like that, but they cannot perform other actions that a sim engineer or an admin can do. And of course, the sim engineer can do everything except for the user management. In addition to these three roles, we also have a root role in a director, which is only for like system related to manage the system related things, and for the license management, like uploading the licenses and things like that. But other roles can still take a look at the consumptions and things like that. So by doing that, by segregating the roles of the users in this way, you can control who gets admin role, who gets the sim engineer role, and who gets the read-only role. And not just that, you can also control who gets to access which instance of a lock point that is connected to a director. So that would be the benefit of this functionality. Okay, so that was on the user management. Now that we have created Kim as a new user, let's let's create or let's look at first look at the log sources, right? How this looks like, and what are the templates that are available. So at the beginning of the demo, I think Sergio also mentioned that we have expanded our log source templates so that configuring of the log source from various sources is easy with just fewer clicks of a button. So just to give you a brief overview, we have several templates from which our users can actually select to do the configuration. So if we talk about hyperscaler services like Microsoft, we have various templates from Microsoft to fetch the logs. So the advantages of this template is, let's say, for example, if I'm selecting Microsoft 365, then and I will be asked to select the pool and the machine on which I would like to do this setup. Uh, and you can enter whatever name you would like to have here, and for the log source template, and then you will be asked to enter the credentials, and you will be asked to select the repo where you want the log sources to be saved. And you don't have to worry about how those messages will be normalized, which normalizes to be selected, because what we have done is we have bundled these things along with the template. So the moment you use or you choose those templates, they are pre-populated. And finally, if you would like to apply any enrichment source to the logs that have been collected, you can do it over here and create the log source template. So for the sake of this demo, I have already pre-populated some templates, some log sources over here using the templates. And the best thing about these templates is, let's say, uh, if there is any changes at the source, and there needs to be a change in the normalizer or any other settings or any other collector, because the source has made some kind of changes at their end, then of course Lockpoint would be releasing those integrations so that our customers can continue to fetch those logs. And once you have installed those updated collectors or the normalization packages, uh, 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 you don't have to basically update anything manually. Rather, you will be presented with an option on the log sources screen where you will be notified once, of course, that this is of course after you have installed those updated uh, applications in the specific log points. You will be presented with an option over here stating that there is some change. Would you like to apply those things? And you can just simply click on that and apply it across the board. So that will make it easy and save, like, the hassle of like manually changing them by going through that individually. So those are some benefits of this log sources platform. And as I was saying, we have a bunch of templates. I've shown you for Microsoft. We do have AWS also covered, wherein we have uh, CloudWatch, CloudTrail, and we also have like Google related templates. We have Cisco related templates. So pretty much most of the major vendors are already covered, wherein we have shipped these templates and the relevant packages in Lockpoint. These are all inbuilt. Okay, so that was on the log sources, how you can fetch, especially from the cloud sources, using the log sources template. And now let's look at the license. So the third point that we had in the demo agenda was the billing side of things. Now, it's very important, as we discussed, as I mentioned earlier as well, to know ultimately, like, there might be like n number of devices, n number of machines that are connected to director platform, and they may be consuming various types of logs from various types of sources. So it's important to know like how the consumptions have been over a period of time, and it is also important to know like which log point machine is consuming which type of, like, whether it's a cloud node or just a node on-prem device. And so realizing this very specific need of our customers, we have revamped our page, this particular page, which is related to the license, wherein you can actually see all the pools that are connected to the director instance. And here, when you expand this option, right now in this demo instance, we have only one machine in each pool, but there could be a situation where there are multiple pools as well. So for each of those pools and for each of those machines, we have provided the consumption, and this is like the consumption as of date, like how many nodes are created in each of these machines. And in addition to that, you can also download a report for the last X number of months, for the last 12 months to be specific. And once you have selected this option from download consolidated report, this is a screen that will be, this is a report that will be presented to you. And this is at a consolidated level, like, across a director, how the consumption has been. And this is at the pools level, like, for each of the months, like how the consumption has been. And similarly, you can also generate this report at the pool level as well. So this actually gives a nice report of how the consumption has been across the tenants over a period of time, so that our MSSP partners can look at these numbers and do the billing as per their process. Uh, so that was on the licensing and the billing part. So with that, I think I have completed the demo, Sergio. Over to you.
Thank you, Sikander, and thank you so much for this demo. What a wonderful demo. I think now we have reached the part where we just going to do our Q&A. Let me just reshare my screen. Hope it's visible. Yes. So one of the things that we asked at the very beginning is that if you had any question throughout this session, please do not wait until the end. Please just submit your question throughout, because then we can just allocate more time for it, right? And it seems that some of you already did, and we have sent questions. Let me just go through them, and perhaps you and I, Sikander, can answer it together, or you specifically, depending on the how specific they are. But the very first one is, can I create our custom defined templates for log sources?
Yep. Uh, yes, Sergio. Users can create their own custom templates. We understand that they may need very specific normalizers they may have created, and very specific settings, configuration settings, and things like that, which may not be met by the vendor templates. So users can create their own templates. And the best thing about Director is, once you have a template that is centrally saved in Director, that template can be used to create log sources in any specific machine that is connected to Director. So the short answer is yes.
Okay. There are two more questions here. Someone says, this seems like a feature that was originally available in Lockpoint. So what has changed in this release?
Sure. So The lock sources feature was already available in the earlier version of LockPoint. So, and thanks for that question. One thing that I would like to clarify is in the earlier version of LockPoint, we had support for fewer connectors. So, Universal REST API Fetcher was one connector that was supported. That was first supported in LockSource's platform, and then after that, we supported syslog, which supported almost like 50 plus different types of sources. And then, like in this latest version of Director 260 and 750, we have supported other sources, especially the major cloud sources like all the Google related sources, the AWS related sources, and the Microsoft related sources. So these are the new. So basically, we have expanded the support of lock sources template to all these new lock sources. And in this version, I think we have covered the major ones related to clouds. And we will continue to also support, there are a few other connectors which are not yet there in lock sources platform. So we will, in our future release, we do have a plan to support them as well in log sources so that the same concept of templated support can be experienced by our customers.
Thank you, Sikander. The next question is just slightly technical, so let's see. Also, heads up, if we cannot answer on the spot, you might also reach out as well to our customer success team or customer support, and I will be happy to help you with this. But let's try on this one. If we are already using Director extensively with users created, I believe, through API access to various instances, when moving from version 2.5 to 2.6, what is the chance that the API users will break from a permissions perspective?
No, so we have kept the APIs intact. So if you have been using the director APIs, so nothing should be broken there. So it should be working as expected.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sikanda. There is also another question here. Can we create users with root access permissions?
Root access is a single user in director console. So there is only one root user that is possible, and when a new installation of director is done, that's the only user, that's the first user, and the root user creates other users like the admins, sim engineers, or other things. And once an admin is created, the admin can actually create other admins and other users, but there is only one root user in director. Thank you.
Awesome. Let me see. Yes. What permissions and groups are the existing API keys given when upgrading?
Could you repeat that question, Sergio?
Yes. What permissions and groups are the existing API keys given when upgrading?
So that will be based on their own permissions. So say, for example, if they have user permission, then they will get the user permission, the same user permission. I mean, basically, there should not be a chain because the only difference between the admin and the SIM engineer role is that an admin can create users within director, whereas the SIM engineer cannot create users within director console. So, but they can do all other stuff that are already available. So they should be able to do both things through the API keys.
Nice. Thank you so much. There is one more question here.
Mhm.
Will Director start integrating with Moonin, also Lockpoint NDR, at the same time as Lockpoint?
Yeah, so that's there in the plan in the future. So in the future releases, you will see these things coming in. I don't have an exact timeline right now, but these are on the way. However, we already have a integration, as you all might be knowing, which through the Lockpoint itself with Munin.
That's correct. And it seems there are no more questions. We are approaching the time dedicated to this webinar. So then in that case, I would like to thank you all for all your questions. As I mentioned, we have reached the end of this webinar, but we're constantly coming up with new webinars, whether they are use cases, cybersecurity topics, releases, or even conversations with some of our management team. If you haven't signed up for our newsletter to get notified, you can always register for our webinars or from directly in our website by checking lockpoint.com/webinars, or even also there you can find those webinars on demand from previous sessions. So you can always like catch up with things that happened in the past. But also if you are a customer, you can benefit from our masterclass where you will get some tips and tricks on how to use Lockpoint. Those are all sort of like resources you can just get, master classes, webinars, also conversations with us. And I do recommend you. They bring a lot of food for thought, and as I mentioned, also tips and tricks and insightful conversations. Anyways, that's all for today. Again, thank you very much for attending this webinar, and thank you for your questions. I guess we will see each other in future Lockpoint webinars. In that case, until the next time, bye.